Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, some massive adoption news coming out of France because 25,000 major retail stores are going to be accepting Bitcoin starting in 2020. Furthermore, guys, as you know, Bakkt has launched and it is starting to ramp up its trading. Bakkt has already had 71 Bitcoin futures contracts in the last 24 hours. A single contract is not an insignificant amount of money. There's certainly been a good amount of volume on Bakkt so far. It's going to take several months for it to ramp up, of course, but Bakkt is looking bullish. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is not. Bakkt has, of course, launched, and to a lot of people's unsurprise, Bitcoin did not move a whole lot. I didn't expect that it would, and many people did not either. Even to the point of Bitcoin pretty much trading sideways through the launch yesterday, but overnight, Bitcoin did have about a $300 dump, so we're going to go ahead and dive on into that in today's technical analysis. If you guys do enjoy today's video, go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help out with the YouTube algorithm when you do that. I would be very appreciative if you did. And guys, a face reveal is coming in about 2 days. Give me some time to finish editing this video. I spent 7 hours editing 3.5 minutes of footage for this Area 51 raid video. You're getting it soon. Give me time. I'm looking so forward to seeing your guys' reaction on it. Anyway, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. I want to start over here on the Coinbase chart, on the hourly chart, because as you guys may know, Bitcoin has been testing a very important uptrend of support over the last couple of days. It's this one right here, and this uptrend of support it's not very clear where it comes from on the Coinbase chart, but if I come to our Bitfinex chart, you'll understand pretty quickly. That's this uptrend right here that has touches going all the way back to 2015, and it really started to get solidified here in 2017 with a touch here, here, etc. We've talked about this uptrend quite a lot, and it does bear some pretty significant relevance to the market. As we can see, Bitcoin has pretty much been trading above it for the last couple of months here, with only a few days falling beneath it. And recently, Bitcoin has fallen below it again. In fact, last night it did. And I'll be real with you guys, that's actually neither a good thing nor a bad thing. What it is a return to volatility for Bitcoin, which is something that we've all been wanting. As you guys probably know, Bitcoin has basically not been moving even in the slightest. Its volatility is at a several-month low, and the altcoins are feeling pretty much the same. Everything's trading sideways with a slight bearish tint to it. So the fact that Bitcoin is moving here could actually be considered a good thing because it means that we're probably going to see a return to volatility and some kind of breakout, especially now that Bakkt is launched and that news is concrete. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we saw another big breakout in a week or two here, maybe even less time than that. Think about the last times that we saw Bitcoin was very low in its volatility. Right over here, big breakout. Very low volatility, huge breakout. Very low volatility, big breakout. It doesn't always mean that it's going to be a bullish breakout, but it does normally indicate that some kind of price action is coming. Same thing happened over here in 2015 and 2016. A lot of very low volatility, massive breakout. Guys, when Bitcoin doesn't have a lot of volatility, what happens is that everybody gets bored of Bitcoin. They all leave the market for a little while. And then when Bitcoin does start moving, it does start doing something interesting. All those people come back all at once, and them all coming back at once acts as if a bull was buying or selling onto the market because so much valuation, so much volume returns so quickly that it can cause a massive movement. That's why when you see low volatility for a long time, oftentimes it is immediately accompanied by massive volatility. So that's something that we might be about to see. With that in mind, guys, we do need to be careful here because Bitcoin is not pushing in the bullish direction with low volatility, it's pushing in the bearish direction with low volatility. What I would like to see Bitcoin do here is fall down to this uptrend of support. This is the one of that triangle pattern that everybody's been talking about for 2 or 3 months. I'd like to see Bitcoin pull down to it and rally, but whether or not Bitcoin does that is going to depend on some key factors. Do we get hourly RSI divergence? One of the things we're going to have to worry about is a downtrend on the chart here and an uptrend on the RSI right here. If that does continue to be RSI divergence, that's almost always a bearish indicator and could drive Bitcoin lower. Furthermore, zooming out to the longer term charts, we can see on the 4 hourly here that MACD is pretty bearish, and even though it looked like it was starting to converge bullish on itself, it has once again started to diverge bearish. Honestly with you, the daily chart doesn't look all that great either. We do see significant bearishness on the MACD down here, and we also see that Bitcoin is below the 20 exponential moving average that Bitcoin was trading sideways around. In my humble opinion, the last 3 or 4 days have actually been kind of a pseudo breakout on Bitcoin because normally when Bitcoin is trading sideways, it trades above and below and above and below the 20 EMA. For the last 3 or 4 days, we've been trading purely below the 20 EMA, which does indicate a return to volatility. And when you see a small return to volatility, like we were talking about, oftentimes a major return to volatility is around the corner. And that would make a lot of sense, guys. Bitcoin is getting pretty far into this consolidation pattern, probably over 90% of the way through it at this point. Normally, Bitcoin would have broken out by now. It really has until about October 15th, maybe over here somewhere, depending on how you draw the pattern, before it needs a breakout. Whether or not it's bullish or bearish is really yet to be determined, but I do think a big breakout is coming soon. So to wrap up the technical analysis, I want to show you how to prepare for that. Whether or not Bitcoin breaks to the upside or to the downside is hard to tell at this moment. I have a slight bearish feeling, but it's very slight, guys. What you want to do is make sure you have trades in both directions. You can have a short position open down here and a long position open down here, where if Bitcoin falls through it, it's going to trigger it, and if Bitcoin rallies through it, it's going to trigger it, so that you get into a trade either way. And then what you want to do on breakouts especially is have your stop loss immediately below your buy position. I mean, immediately below it. If Bitcoin does come down here to this level of support like it shows on some people's charts at $9,000 and it bounces down there, you don't want to get into a short position right here, which is why you want to have a stop loss immediately covering you when you go into a short or long on a breakout. So be careful with that, but that is how you can trade this. And if you do decide to go into one of these positions, tell me in the comment section down below and how it works for you. I'm going to be opening a couple of these most likely in the next couple of days, preparing for some kind of breakout on Bitcoin. Because when Bitcoin does break out of this big consolidation pattern, it's probably going to be huge, guys. Normally the breakout is proportional to the size of the consolidation pattern that preceded it. And the consolidation pattern that preceded it is pretty big. So with that all said, guys, tell me in the comment section down below, like I said, what your take is on the market, and we're going to go ahead and dive on into some news. The short term might not be looking remarkably bullish for Bitcoin, but the long term most certainly is. It's hard to find an argument against Bitcoin in the long term, in my humble opinion, even if you can find one in the short term on the technical basis. But here we have an article called France. 25,000 major retail stores to accept Bitcoin in 2020. By early 2020, support for Bitcoin payments will be launched at over 25,000 sale points for 30 French retailers, including sportswear giant Decathlon and cosmetics store Sephora. French crypto news outlet Crypto Globe reported the development announced during Paris Retail Week on September 24th. That was today. I'm not going to read through all of this because you guys got the point. There are 25,000 retail stores about to start accepting Bitcoin. Guys, if Bitcoin is ever going to become mainstream, it needs two things. It needs the infrastructure for us to be able to use it, and it needs brand awareness. Quite frankly, it needs awareness, it needs adoption. Stuff like this does both of those, because when you walk into one of these French retail stores and you see the Bitcoin logo and you see it in another store and another store and another store, because all of these stores have adopted it, eventually you're going to Google, hey, what's that B that looks like a dollar sign? And they're going to discover Bitcoin. And some of those people that discover Bitcoin are going to become interested in Bitcoin. And some of the people that become interested in Bitcoin are going to convert into Bitcoin users. And in that way, slowly but surely, the retail adoption of Bitcoin continues. And especially with stories like this, after it continues, then we have a place to use it. This is a big development, and we're seeing stuff like this happen all the time. So even though the short term on Bitcoin might make you a little concerned, there's no reason to be. The long term for Bitcoin is perfectly fine. I tell you guys, have a trading portfolio and an investing portfolio, because if something bad happens in your trading, you can always fall back on, both mentally and financially, your investing portfolio. What I mean by that is if you lose a bunch of money in your trading portfolio, you can pretty much rest assured that that investing portfolio is going to do very well moving on into the future, at least in my opinion, and in the opinion of the history of Bitcoin, it will. There's not a single year in the history of Bitcoin where dollar cost averaging was not profitable if you were to sell right now. That includes 2018. Anyway, guys, on to our last news story of the day. Just a little bit of update on Bakkt. Bakkt trades 71 futures contracts in the first 24 hours. Intercontinental Exchange's ICE Bakkt platform has traded 71 Bitcoin futures contracts so far. According to ICE historical data on Bakkt Bitcoin over US dollar futures contract trading, I got that all in one take. I'm very proud of myself. The platform has traded 71 Bitcoin at press time, with the last recorded trading price settling at $9,875 per Bitcoin. 71 contracts doesn't sound like a whole lot for Bakkt, especially when it's something that we've been getting ready for and preparing for and getting hyped up over for the last year or so. But you have to realize something, guys. When a new exchange launches, especially one that is new in multiple ways, not just new in that it didn't exist before, but also new in that what it's doing, being a regulated, physically settled futures market for Bitcoin on Wall Street, did not exist before. When you keep those things in mind, 71 Bitcoin, 71 contracts is pretty good. And guys, it's going to continue to grow. More and more people are going to continue to use Bakkt. Things like this snowball. This channel, it took over 2 months to get to the first 1,000 subscribers, and then a couple months later, we got 500 in a day. The same thing is going to happen with Bakkt. This is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Guys, even though the short term might be a little bit concerning, even though the short term might be a little bit uncertain, I think that there is no reason to be bearish on the long term. Whether or not Bitcoin falls to the floor right now and pulls down to price targets of like $8,000, that simply does not matter in my opinion, so long as you're careful and you don't lose money in your trades. It really doesn't matter. You can make money if Bitcoin's going up or Bitcoin's going down. I'm very happy with everything I see in the market right now because Bitcoin seems to have a return to volatility happening. happening, and we see bullish news developments happening in the space more and more every single day. Tell me in the comment section down below what you feel on the short-term technicals of Bitcoin, and also tell me if you're looking forward to a face reveal. But guys, I see no reason to take up any more of your time, so we're going to go ahead and wrap the video up. I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.